Introducing a very special woman for today's opening address. That would be Congresswoman Allison Schwartz. She's a tough, skillful, and accomplished legislator with a strong commitment to finding forward-thinking solutions to the biggest challenges that are facing our state and our nation. Right now, she's in her 5th term representing Pennsylvania's 13th congressional district. She has a long resume, so we'll give you just a few of the highlights here. She's a member of the Ways and Means Committee. She also is largely focused on putting middle-class families back to work, and she also likes to focus a lot on helping businesses grow. So Congresswoman Schwartz is also one of the most successful female elected officials in Pennsylvania history. She has repeatedly broken new ground in the state's political structure. That all started out when she became the 3rd woman to serve in the Pennsylvania State Senate back in 1991. She is now the longest serving woman to represent Pennsylvania in Congress, and she is the only woman in the 19-member Pennsylvania congressional delegation. And on a more personal note, she was also named Best in Congress by Working Mother magazine. So a huge honor there to her. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Allison Schwartz.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you? Great crowd this morning. Thank you for being here. And it was sunny outside, right? Was that what it was? But I hope a few extra umbrellas got used this morning. But anyway, it's great to be here in the Lehigh Valley. Thank you very much for the warm welcome and for the invitation to be with you. And I do want to congratulate all of the scholarship awardees. A couple $1,000 here or there makes a very big difference in access to higher education, and to all of you who generously and thoughtfully thought about who was going to get those scholarships. I know those are not easy decisions. Thank you for what you do, and good luck to all the awardees as well in their future endeavors. And it's great to see so many successful and strong businesswomen this morning. So again, thank you for being here. Every day across this country, women are breaking through glass ceilings, and in both public and private sectors. We are really using our perspective and our talents to work at the workplace, and we are succeeding. And I'm looking at a lot of you, so it's good to see you. We know what a challenge it is to break through and to succeed in male-dominated fields. I'm certainly in one, probably many of you are as well. But to really ensure that our talents are respected and valued. We do have solutions, we have ideas, we have opinions, and our voices should be heard. And that is true, as they say, in both the private sector and in the public sector. And what we have we have so much at stake in the debates of the day on issues confronting us in our communities, in our state, and in our nation. And we should use our influence and have influence in those debates, and be sure that we're there when those decisions are made. Women in business and the public sector have made a great deal of progress. So I'm going to give you some numbers, which is sort of impressive and maybe not so much. And there's a little bit of both in all of this. Nationally, women own 8.3 million businesses in this country, generating $1.3 trillion and employing 7.7 million people. Pretty nice numbers, yeah? I think that's right. Good luck. Now, this dates us a little bit, but the percentage of women in all professions have increased from 18 million in 1950. A few of you were around in 1950, maybe not so many, but to more than 63 million today. And more than half of those employed in managerial and professional occupations are now women. So we're getting there. In Pennsylvania, there are almost 300,000 women-owned businesses, employing about 300,000 people and generating a revenue in excess of $51.5 million, a 45% increase over the last 15 years alone. So making pretty rapid progress in the last decade or so. But Pennsylvania is 27th out of 50 states in the growth in the number of women-owned businesses, the bottom half. We should do better. And we're 63rd in employment growth. So, and women in elected office, I'll give you a little statistics on the world I am in, but there are 78 women in Congress, in the nation. Anyone know how many women in Congress? I mean, how many people in Congress? It's 435. So we're 17%. Now we're kind of visible. You think it's more than that, don't you? But it's not. We're 17%. And in the Senate, we have the most women senators ever, history of our nation, we have 20 out of 100, so 20%. And in Pennsylvania itself, Pennsylvania ranks 47th in the nation in the number of women in our General Assembly. Yeah, that face makes it, right, that's not great. And there's just one woman in our statewide row offices. We just elected a woman attorney general for the very first time. Pretty exciting. Some of you probably helped do that. In Pennsylvania, we have never seen a woman senator or a woman governor. In an executive office in this country, women governors, any guess how many women governors there are in this country? In 50 states? 5. We've had more than that sometimes, but 5. And there's only one Democratic woman governor in this country today, in New Hampshire. So we're not quite at parity yet. We have a little ways to go. We are visible, we're heard, but we're not at parity. So I just want to tell you a little bit about my experience in the state Senate and in Congress and how I see the economic development for the future. I was elected in 1990, as you heard, in the state Senate. I was the 3rd woman in the Pennsylvania Senate. I'm sure some of you are aware of, and I hope very proud of, Lehigh Valley's own Jeanette Reedman, who served from Easton, who served in the state house for 10 years, and then in the state Senate for 20 years, the only woman. Pretty amazing. Many of you knew her. I did overlap with Jeanette for one term for 4 years. I was honored to work with her and to know her. She was joined by Senator Roxanne Jones from Philadelphia in 1986. They were very different. Roxanne Jones and Joe were very different backgrounds, broke different ground, but they were both pioneers. They were gracious and they were determined and they got things done, and that's what they were there for. I was incredibly proud of my own tenure in the state Senate, where I did bring a new and fresh voice and my own sense of mission to that position. My purpose there was not only to be heard, but to get results. And as a state senator, that instinct that was shared by Senators Reedman and Jones before me for problem solving, for making a difference for families, drove me to lead the fight to create the Pennsylvania's Children's Health Insurance Program. Some of you know it as CHIP. CHIP became a national model. We did it in 1992, 5 years before, I'm sorry, I'm not that old, 92, 5 years before the federal government did, but it was a national model on providing children of working families access to private health insurance. It's true, President Clinton used Pennsylvania's CHIP as a template for the nation. And in Congress, I led the effort to extend and expand this coverage. And now today, 11 million children in this nation, working families, have access to health insurance. And we started it right here in Pennsylvania. We're the leaders in the nation. It's something we should be enormously proud of. So after 14 years in the state Senate in 2004, and after a long list of accomplishments, including serving as the Democratic chair of the Education Committee in the state Senate, where I fought for early childhood education, smart way to make sure that kids are prepared for school and get a great start, where I fought for fair funding for our schools and for access to higher education, I decided to run for an open, competitive seat for Congress. The 13th congressional district that I represent is made up of blue-collar neighborhoods in northeast Philadelphia and middle-class families in the suburbs of Montgomery County. I became just the 6th woman in Pennsylvania ever to be elected to Congress. And today, as you heard, I'm the only woman representing Pennsylvania in Congress today out of an 18-member delegation. We lost 1 seat, so we went from 19 to 18, and 2 senators, of course. So I take my responsibility as a woman elected not only to represent my own district, but to consider the needs of women and our families and the things we care about from all over Pennsylvania. I'm often asked by reporters, how did I do it? How am I the only woman? And how I've been able to break through and succeed, and how I've had this staying power. And what I tell them, and what I will tell you, is that I brought to Congress my skills in defining priorities, in finding common ground, and determination to get things done. My commitment to take on real challenges and fight for pragmatic solutions is how I've been able to succeed. And somehow every day, even in very tough political environments, and some years are harder than others, and some environments are harder than others, I always look for a way forward to get something done and to succeed. And sometimes those successes are pretty big. My very first bill in Congress was signed into law by George Bush, President George Bush, We didn't agree on too much, but he signed my first bill, and I'm very proud of having found that bipartisan support. As a bill that created tax credits for businesses such as your own, for private businesses, to hire our veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan. A bill like so many bills I've offered since that has been co-sponsored by a Republican. In this case, his name was Joe Schwartz. He's from rural Michigan, and he and I were elected the same year. We sort of got a kick out of having a Schwartz bill. It's spelled differently, but it's, you know, you find common ground wherever you can, and that's the way I did it then, but he's a good guy. Anyway, the law is designed to help real people, veterans and military families, who meet a very real challenge in their lives, to have a job, to support their families, to be reintegrated into civilian life. And you've heard how difficult it is for so many of our newest veterans to do that. And as a result, there have been 84,000 veterans in this nation who have been certified to get these tax credits and get new jobs. So another success, and one I'm very proud of. Yeah, it's a good thing for veterans. So that's, I've also focused on Main Street development in small towns in my district and in neighborhoods in Philadelphia. And I was able to, in my first term, bring $46 million of taxpayer dollars back to my district for infrastructure improvements that spurred private and public investments in these small towns and neighborhoods, making a real difference in the quality of life in our communities, attracting new businesses and new residents. And something that I think you care about a good bit in the Lehigh Valley, and that is biotech and life sciences, are really a rich and important part of what you do here. I recognize the importance of Pennsylvania's biotech industry. Some of us don't think about it as much as we might, but we do have a very, very strong biotech industry. And the recession, which hit all of us and hit businesses and families across this country, also hurt new startups. It was very hard to have access to capital. You're businesswomen, you probably know that. Access to capital is one of the most critical things. So working with Senator Menendez and from New Jersey, I was able to secure $1 billion in tax credits for startup biotech companies so that they could keep working on some of the new therapies and devices and potential cures that could save lives and save dollars in the future. 3,000 companies across this country now are continuing to do that work, and 158 of them are right here in Pennsylvania, creating those cures, employing people, and working on cutting-edge research and the development of new products for the future. Each of these and other efforts I've successfully undertaken have made a real difference in economic growth and in the lives of families and communities across Pennsylvania and across the nation. So when I think about the future of Pennsylvania, I think about a state where citizens should be empowered to reach their fullest potential, where our businesses can thrive, and where Pennsylvania builds on our rich history and our assets to lead in the 21st century. In Pennsylvania, we have remarkable people with talent and ingenuity, with determination and pride. Pennsylvania has a remarkable and incredible history of manufacturing and the opportunity to use this know-how to grow advanced manufacturing of products and materials and tools that are shaping America today. And in Pennsylvania, we have world-renowned colleges and universities, some of them right here in the Lehigh Valley, poised to drive our economy both by training and educating our own highly skilled workforce, and also by attracting talent and businesses right here in Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania, we have great natural resources and strength in science and engineering and medical research, and we have astounding opportunities to use these natural resources in energy, in healthcare, in technology to create jobs. But this is not enough. As business leaders, you know that economic competitiveness can only be achieved if we have a skilled workforce, if we invest in innovation and infrastructure and education, when companies and their employees have access to quality, affordable health coverage, when we have access to low-cost homegrown energy, and when we promote small businesses, entrepreneurship, and innovation. Building on these assets, focusing on these key goals, is not only doable, but essential if we are to compete and grow. And we can do this in Pennsylvania. But to do it, we must have political leadership that builds on our tradition, that leverages our assets, and believes in our people to make us stronger and stronger in the years and months ahead. A state as big as Pennsylvania should be able to do big things. A state as strong as Pennsylvania should be able to be guided by strong leadership. Leadership that knows how to seize these opportunities, that builds on our assets, and promotes our talent to grow Pennsylvania's economy. As women, not only should we be a part of making this happen, but Pennsylvania needs us to be a part of making it happen. Our state needs us to use our talents, our skills, and our perspectives so we have the political leadership we deserve. It is not only true in the workplace that women's talents and strengths and determinations need to be used, but so in the political arena as well. So when they say leave it to the men, things are just fine in politics today, we know better than that. There is no way we should not only be a part of it because our talents and perspectives are needed, but in fact, it's kind of our responsibility and maybe our obligation to step up and do this, and do it now. I think we're ready. I think Pennsylvania's ready. I think, in fact, we're essential if we're going to grow and change and be who we want to be in our state. This is not easy, but we know how much it matters. I know from my work in elected office what a difference it can make in the lives of the people in my district and in the state and in the nation. I know that I can bring bold and energetic and determined leadership to Pennsylvania, but I can't do it without you. I need you to step up as well, to expect more from Harrisburg, and to be a part of making this happen. So I believe with the right vision, with the right goals, with the right leadership in both the private and public sector, that together we women can make a difference. Together we can make sure that we're meeting Pennsylvania's challenges, creating that opportunity, and winning that future for our families, for our communities, and for our nation. And together we can build that future for Pennsylvania. So thank you for what you do in the workplace. Thank you for what you do in your civic work and your community work. You heard how important that is to us and to our future. But let's not take what's happening in Pennsylvania for granted. Let's build on our great assets and who we are, and let's make sure that we move forward in a way that assures that we are a part of this debate, that we are a part of this future, and that we actually are growing and prospering and thriving in a way that we know we can do. Help make it happen. Thank you so much, and I look forward to it.
To a bold and courageous leader, Congresswoman Schwartz, for being here with us this morning. Another round of applause for herself. And I now have a few important announcements.